So I have a few questions in here that I receive, and I would like to talk about these. The first question is, can meditation help one to gain release from and or defeat migraines? I can tell you, yes, positively. But if you do it one day and don't do it the next 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and you do it on every Saturday, you're not consistent, you don't have perseverance, and you're not habitually doing it, the release may not come to you. So what you really have to do is you have to build up a habit of doing the meditation every day. Say you can start with half an hour, and you build up that to say 1.5 hours or even 2 hours every day. And if you do it consistently for, I guess it wouldn't be for too long. For half a year, you will quickly see your improvement. You need to be habitually doing it. Because when you are doing meditation, actually you are relieving your tension. Your tension is off. Many years ago when I was in Toronto, and she told me her true story. A nun, she was a nun, and I still remember her name. Fo Xing was her name, and then she told me she suffered from 腦膜炎，炎係發炎啊。Infection, yeah, she suffered from inflammation and infection. She suffered from an inflammation and infection of the membrane of the brain. So it was extremely serious. She thought she was going to die. Because even the doctor said I couldn't do anything about it. It was so serious. And she was a nun. And the next day she started to make a vow that she would do 5 hours of meditation per day, because she sometimes did meditation, but she did it haphazardly without consistency. So she planned to do it every day and just use meditation to later. I want to make the story short. She was able to recover from doing meditation. It was an inflammation and infection of the membrane of the brain. Now you're just a migraine headache. If you do it consistently, I'm sure you'll get the result. I don't even have to tell you now. If you do it every day, say start with half an hour and then 1 hour, and do it habitually every day, and really know how to meditate though. When you're meditating, you're not just sitting there and just relaxing with not knowing what to do. So what you really have to do is you really have to follow the procedures through. In meditation, the first guideline is be here and now. So in other words, you don't think about the past, you don't think about the future, and whatever comes in, go out. So if you're meditating, all your senses still absorb your environment. You let them flow out. Don't let it stay in your mind. If you let anything stay in your mind, any incoming images or incoming disturbances to stay, you won't get peacefulness. That's what we call let go. Let what comes in through your ears, your eyes, your nose, your taste, your body touch. Let what comes in go out. Don't retain it. What do you do in your normal life? When people scolded at you, what do? You retain it in your mind and said, why did it scold me? What are you doing? What are you talking about? You started to get angry about it. But those sentences of scolding really are not inherent by themselves. These sentences, this sound is not poisonous. It's your mind that is poisonous. It's your mind that put poison on the sound and grabs onto it. And the magic is let it flow out. whatever scolding and cursing and whatever, let it float out. It works magic because you're not being influenced by it. You let go. That's what we call by letting go. Let what comes in go out. And sometimes your senses may not be interacting with the outside world. You're just sitting in there, you close your eyes, you don't listen to anything, it was so quiet, you're not tasting anything, you're not touching anything, and then you're sitting in there and your mind starts to work. Oh, yesterday, you thought about yesterday. You thought about the day before, you thought about a few years ago. You thought about childhood when you're being abused by your mom, your dad, your brothers, and you agonize on it. Why? Because you went back to the past, you dig out your files, you put it on the table, and you start to flip to it, and you start to analyze it, you start to hang on to it. But it's a history. That already happened. Your wife deserted you, your husband divorced you, but that already happened. It won't happen again. But why do you want to still put it in front of you and agonize on it? Can you just let it go? By not allowing yourself to dig into the past. And why do you worry about the future? You worry about your sickness, you worry about you're going to die, you worry about I haven't got a job yet, how do I support my family? You have a lot of worries. But right now at this present moment, don't worry about it because it hasn't come. What's the probability of whatever you worry about would actually come true? Say half and half or less than half. So don't worry about the future. But of course, after meditation, you tackle it. You intelligently find a solution to it by positively and rationally resolving the problem. But you don't hang on to the problem and let it agonize you. So let go. Let whatever comes in go out, including your creation of the past and your images and your worrying about the future. So we say we'll live at the present moment. We always say we'll live in the present moment. What is the present moment? Letting go. Don't let it affect you. That's the first lesson in meditation. If you can't even do that, don't waste your time. But if you're sitting there, you're thinking about how abusive your past is and how worried about the future. And suddenly you heard a honking of the car and you said, gee, that guy is disturbing my meditation. And then you smell your neighboring meditator is sweaty and you're really stinky and it affects you. You smell, you don't like it, you hate it. You hate this guy, you hate that guy. You make judgment. You have an internal commentator that comes out to be active and he's analyzing everything with color lenses. Don't do that. You don't need it. So, first lesson, let go. Let whatever comes in go out. You'll be happier. You'll be happier if you let go. That's the first lesson. But letting go is not enough. It's just like when I give an example of boxing. If I'm a trainer, if I have a trained boxer, I train him to weave, to avoid being boxed out. But just avoiding it is not enough. You got to bounce back, right? You got to build up your power. I'm not advocating violence in boxing. I'm just using it as an example. So you first learn how not to be hurt. Because if you're not letting go, you'll be hurt. The next step, because you already have mastered the weaving, the avoiding, the dodging, something like that. The next lesson is to build up your concentration. That's your anapanasati. Because you don't have the concentration yet. Comparing to the example, you can weave, but you cannot attack. You cannot box. So you got to build up a concentration by building it in your nose tip is the object of concentration. And in and out, concentrating in and out. You still let go in the process. Because when you are putting your thought on the in and out, that now the breath comes in, now the breath goes out, you still have, your senses are still interacting. So in other words, simultaneously you're letting go and simultaneously you are concentrating in here. Doing two things at the same time. If you become successful in doing these two things, you are on your way to enlightenment. But these two things may take you years. It may take you 1 year, 2 years. It takes some people a lifelong time. Or to some people, it never work out because they always cannot do it. They always cannot go. So if you ask me if meditation can help you to gain release from migraine, it helps you to become enlightened, not to mention just a little thing of migraine headache. But can you build up your habit of doing it? Train yourself. You are your own trainer. You are your own boxer. You're right there. You're ready for the game. You're ready to be the champion. Are you willing to be the champion? Or you're just constantly being defeated? Come on, build up the energy. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time in looking for fame, reputation, looking for relationship, looking for good food, good house, luxuries, sensual pleasures. Those are not for us. That's what the Buddha said. Those are not for us. Those are troublemakers, as a matter of fact. Those will pull you down. If you want to really concentrate in doing it, really concentrate in doing it, try to be a monk like me. You have more time practicing. Right now what you're doing, you're making money to keep this body, which is going to vanish later. So why doing this? Concentrate in training. Concentrate in the game, in that game, and if you're the champion of that game, you're on your way to arhatship, you're on your way to nirvana. What else can I say about migraine headache? That's it for this first question. Second question, could you talk about the misery of I, me, mine, please? Is it mystery or the mystery? When you talk about I, that means you always think about your individual benefits. What is I? As a matter of fact, let's analyze I. What is me? Who are you? What is me? What is I? I is a combination of body and mind, right? Body. My body. My body is made up of molecules, body cells. And my mind is spiritual. And the Buddha said these are the 5 skandhas. The body, being the material, is easy to analyze. Your skin, your skeleton, your body, your heart, your brain, all these are body cells to make up of you. How about the spiritual side? The spiritual side made up of perception, conception, volition, and consciousness. These are the spiritual side that makes up of you. The material part is temporary. And it changes so fast. It ages so fast. It gets sick, and finally it will die out. It will die. The spiritual side also is changing all the time. One day you think about this, next day you think about that, and every thought is almost changing. And it does not have its self-nature. It's subject to changeability all the time. But within the consciousness, we always have this egoistic feeling of self, of permanence, of individuality, of an entity that we maintain. We think, this is me, this is I want to do this, I want to do that. You always have an identity that you want to stick to, you want to attach to. And this is my child, and this is your child, this is my possessions, this is your possessions. You tend to build up a contrast. And because of this contrast and contradictions, because of I and you relationship, and in the process of satisfying my interest, it could be at your expense of sacrificing your interest. And you're always in the process of building up this karma that would create benefits to you and create fraudulence and bad effects to others, because you're in the process of gaining for yourself. You're in the process of building up bad karma. So we really have to purify our I. The mystery is, I is always looking for sensual pleasures. And we build up a lot of negative karma in the process of doing it. I have a lot more to say about I. The whole subject of I requires a lot of time to tackle. And I can only give you brief answers now because I don't have a lot of time to. But it's because of I, because of this entity that you think that is in you, because of this self-protection of your ego that get us into trouble. Next, can you please explain emptiness in inherent existence? Emptiness is a common English word. The Sanskrit for it is sunyata. Sunyata. If you really want to research into it, it simply means that everything is causality. All the conditions put together, then it's a formation of something. So everything does not have its inherent existence. So in other words, for example, my body exists on causality. And all the conditions come true that my body exists. And one day, these conditions disintegrate or change, then my body don't exist anymore. Say when I die, this doesn't exist anymore. So nothing in this world, not even a molecule, not even anything, has this inherent existence. It is dependent on others. It's an interdependent origination. It itself does not have its existence. Therefore, it is impermanent. Therefore, one should not attach to it. And because of impermanence, because of this no inherent existence, it induces suffering to us. Because on the one hand, we're always looking for permanence. We're always looking for permanency that we may not even realize about it. On the other hand, the actual fact is nothing is permanent. So in this struggle, it creates a lot of suffering. I don't want to die, but you have to. I want to be rich, but you're poor. I want my wife to not to die. My wife has a sickness, she's dying. I don't want her to die, but she's dying. So the facts and your ideology in your mind, they're always in conflict. And in this conflict, it creates a lot of suffering for you, for me, for everybody. So in order to know the truth, you have to understand emptiness and sunyata and asvabhava. Asvabhava is that nothing has its real self. But we always we always attach to the real self. Only when you discard this ego would you be able to get to nirvana. Would you be able to get out of this mundane level of thinking? That takes wisdom, and the Buddha said this is prajna. Where did wisdom come from? The Buddha explained the universe, explained all this to us, and designed procedures to work through so that you can get rid of this feeling, get rid of this understanding, and arrive at a certain high level in order to get to a nirvana. But that takes time. Basically, there are 3 columns in understanding this. As I said, the 3 important subjects. The first is sila, second is samadhi, the third is prajna. In common English is morality, concentration or meditation, and then wisdom. The 3 have to work together. And if you really know this, you really have to understand what the Buddha is talking about. You see, the Buddhist teaching is not a blind faith teaching. It requires analysis, investigation. You know, a Buddhist is not a believer of a God. A Buddhist is a constant investigator of the real truth. He's a researcher also of life. Next, in the 1000 Buddha Hall is a huge lotus base, and on top 4 Buddhas facing 4 different directions, followed by a larger Buddha statue on top. Can Venerable explain the meaning of those statues? Yes. On the second floor, in that direction. In the Chinese language, we call it Qian Fo Rao Pi Lu. On the base, actually, if you really look in detail, there are little tablets, 1,000 Buddha on the base. That's on the lowest portion. And on the second level, there are the 4-direction Buddha, and on the top level, the Vairocana Buddha. The statue tells us that historically we have one Buddha who exists 2,600 years ago. But there are already many, many Buddhas before who already got enlightened. And they are in different directions. We are the unenlightened Buddhas. You see the difference between the Buddhist teaching and some other religions is you're not always a follower of the Buddha or the follower of God. You are God. You have that God in you. You are the Buddha. You are just the unenlightened Buddha. Here I can see 60 Buddhas, 45 future Buddhas. Because once you have sown the seed of enlightenment, you become a future Buddha. During meditation, my mind keeps wandering and my body starts to hurt, even after changing body positions. How could I improve? I have to know how your body hurt, and your mind keeps wandering. Well, because you didn't practice it right. When you say your mind is always wandering, what are you wondering about? You're like a monkey mind. We all have a monkey mind. Say that your mind starts to think about many things, many other things, like a monkey going in different directions. You just pull that monkey back. It's just you put your leash on the monkey. You want your monkey to stay put. You tell your monkeying mind, but the monkeying mind won't listen to you. After maybe 1 minute, the monkey hops off and goes into different directions, but it's still on the leash. You pull it back because you know it's not right? Because you know you shouldn't have a wandering mind. So the monkey goes away, but you realize it. You know, oh, I've been thinking I should put my thought on Anapanasati, on the breath. Now my monkey goes away. I'm thinking about my work on Monday. Now it's Saturday. I got a lot of work. I got a lot of pressure to do on my work, and I got to do this and I got to do that. So you've been monkeying away to worry about the future job that you're going to do, or you're monkeying away to your past, thinking about I have a monthly rent that I haven't paid, and I really have to deposit a certain amount of money in the bank. What should I do? Then you change your thinking about things that happened in the past. You just pull that monkey back and say, stay put. You just pull the thought back and put it in here. Your monkey should stay put at your nose tip. Always your breath in and out, in and out. If you always train your monkey like that, one day your monkey will be so obedient, so loyal, so tame, so lovable, that you start to love the monkey. That's the time when you love meditation. You can't do without it. When you're really a good meditator, you love meditation. As I always say, meditation is like looking in the first maybe half a year. It's just like watching your own movie. You've been watching other movies, scripts written by other people. Why don't you watch your own movie, the script that was written by you? You were the actor, you were the director. Watch that movie and how your mind works. That's extremely interesting. Then you know your mind, because now you don't know. Your monkey has gone off in different directions doing bad things, naughty monkeys, and you don't even know about it. And that monkey carry out negative karma for you and you suffer. Meditation is just like watching a movie that was built by you. You are the director, you are the actors, you wrote your own script. Isn't that more interesting than going to Odeon theater watching somebody else's movies? You got to pay for it. Now you don't have to. It's free. Talking about movie, I mentioned that there was a movie, Homeless to Harvard. You really should see it. An autobiography of a lady who had a dysfunctional family, whose father died of AIDS, whose mother died of alcoholism, and broken families until 17 years. And she always lived in poverty, always lived with parents who were on drugs, with parents who didn't have money and sometimes didn't have food on the table, and she was struggling. And she became homeless for a while because the father died and the mother died, and she became homeless. And then somehow she was able to survive, and she got a scholarship to Harvard. It's a miracle, okay? And then later, she wrote a book. The name of the book is Breaking Night, N-I-G-H-T, and it's really inspirational. Watched it on YouTube. It's really, really, really good about how a teenager struggled to get through Harvard, got a good job, and now she's living healthily, and she want to pass this inspiration to other people.